Welcome back, Vinyl Community. Got an update for you. Some summer holiday digs. 45 style. Hammond organ style. Hopefully you can hear that pretty well. Doing a little experiment. I'm trying to do this on my phone, get a little bit better video quality. So hope everybody's doing well out there. As you may have seen in a previous video I put up, we went away over the tail end of the summer for a few days to Vancouver Island. Had a fabulous time there, nice family trip. It was kind of the kids' first time over there that they can remember. So we went to see some of the old growth forests. They got to go to the beach and just explore, ride their bikes. They had a fabulous time. Of course, didn't get too much time for record digging, but I did manage to stop in a couple of places and found a couple of things. We went to one of the malls in one of the bigger towns near where we were staying, and there happened to be a HMV type record store there, which I was kind of surprised to see. It was kind of a nice sight to see because HMV is closed down out here now in my area. But it was very similar kind of store. Walked in there, they got all the new kind of reissues, kind of a little bit priced on the high side. So I kind of had a browse, didn't really find anything. But they had a little section of used records and had to flip through there. The LPs were all junk. And they had some 45s. Usually most of them were about $2. Some of the more expensive ones were $5. So I had to flip through there. Wasn't expecting to find too much. Sure enough, flipping through a lot of pretty common 80s stuff at first, and then I started finding some more interesting ones. The first one, what we're just listening to, is a reissue from Light in the Attic Records that came out in 2006, originally released 1971. It's what we just heard. Organ instrumental. This is Lloyd Delprat with Together. What we actually heard was the flip side, Warm Love. This was released on a set called, or the A-side was anyway, on a set called Jamaica to Toronto, Soul, Funk and Reggae, from Light in the Attic Records, compiled by a friend of mine here in Vancouver. So I was kind of surprised to find these in the used bins. I didn't even know they issued some 45s as part of that series. But Lloyd Delprat was a keyboard player, did session work at Studio One, moved on to Treasure Isle Studio, where he played in Tommy McCook's Supersonics band, and then emigrated to Canada, where he joined the Jamaican expatriate scene there. So pretty cool to find these Light in the Attic singles. Came in these nice sleeves, compiled by a friend of mine. He reissued these. Pretty surprising to find those. And the other one I found was Wayne McGee, or Ram, Love is the Answer. That's also on that Jamaica to Toronto set. Wayne McGee was the subject of the very first release in the Jamaica to Toronto series of reissues from Light in the Attic. Wayne McGee and the Sounds of Joy. This has been described as the holy grail of Toronto funk. Originally released in 1970. A very rare album before Light in the Attic and my friend reissued it several years ago, about 10 or 11 years ago now. All expatriate Jamaicans. Wayne McGee was a guitar player, singer, songwriter. One of his earliest bands. Ram was a later project, and the Love is the Answer song is on that Jamaica to Toronto compilation. So pretty cool to find those. Mint condition. They had a few other interesting 45s there. One is The Pyramids, Penetration on Best. This is 1963, 1964-ish. Backed with Here Comes Marsha. Surf instrumental on the A-side, very much in that pipeline kind of style. And the B-side is a vocal. into some rock stuff here. Steel River, Southbound Train. I actually have that one on LP. I showed this several videos back. I happened to find the LP of theirs. Cover's kind of beat up. Vinyl's not bad. Steel River, Canadian, kind of rootsy, rural kind of rock and roll. Good tune here. Excellent condition on the Tuesday label. 1970, very early 70s, 71, 72-ish. Another one I would only have known of because I happened to find the LP a while back. It is Red Eye Games on the A side, collections of Yesterday and Now on the flip, on the Pentagram label, kind of an unusual label. They are kind of, imagine a cross between Creedence Clearwater Revival and the harmonies of Crosby, Stills and Nash, and you kind of get an idea of their sound. And I would not have known what that was, except I found their LP a while back. I probably showed this a few videos back, maybe in the spring. It has both those songs on it. Found one by Flaming Ember. There's quite a bit of a Detroit-based soul influence in these singles I found. The Flaming Ember, I'm Not My Brother's Keeper, backed with Deserted Village. Again, I knew them from having them on LP. This was a very early thrift find for me many years ago. Westbound Number 9, The Flaming Ember, kind of blue-eyed soul, Motown influenced. And what else we got here? Everyday People. Everyday People was a Canadian band. Once again, thrift find for me some years ago. Here's the LP that those songs are on. Kind of Canadian rock with a bit of soul influence. They were kind of inspired by Sly and the Family Stone. Got their name from his song, Everyday People. And then we started getting into some pretty interesting singles finds. I found not one but two copies of this. Mary, Don't Take Me on No Bad Trip by Fuji. Fuji's real name was Ellington Jordan. He was a songwriter. Actually wrote I'd Rather Go Blind by Etta James, or co-wrote it. This was his release as an artist, kind of psychedelic funk. Mary, of course, refers to Mary Jane. And there was not one but two copies of this. One has the chest sleeve, a little bit. Previous owner's done some writing on there. And the backing band on that is Black Merda, which I've had this LP for a few years. Psychedelic funk inspired by Jimi Hendrix, the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Just awesome psych funk. There's a nice compilation of theirs, which I also have, called The Psych Funk of Black Merda. Sort of thought that Mary song was on this comp, but it's not. And one by Charles Wright and the Watts 103rd Street Band. Must Be Your Thing, backed with Comment. I was really surprised to find these. Two by The Parliaments. That is George Clinton, the original Parliaments. This one's on Revelot label. What You've Been Growing, backed with Look What I Almost Missed. Kind of a classic Detroit soul. The group was actually based in Detroit at that time. George Clinton had tried to get signed to Motown Records. They kind of passed on them as an artist, but employed him as a producer and songwriter. And it has that very Temptations influence, kind of Motown sound, with kind of a hint of that funk influence starting to creep in, which would be their future direction. And there was also this one here, A New Day Begins, The Parliaments on Atco, backed with I'll Wait. Kind of classic soul, but beginning to get that kind of psychedelic or paranoid funk edge. And last single I'll show, classic one by Bobby Womack, Tried and Convicted on the Minute label. These are all late 60s, 68-ish. So really surprising to find these singles in like a HMV type store in the mall of all places. With and again, most of them about $2 each. I think the Parliaments were like $5, and the Light in the Attic ones were like $5 each. And excellent condition on all of them. The Parliaments are probably more in the VG range. Some light scratches, but they play fine. Only LP I picked up on my trip was one just in a thrift store right around the corner from where we were staying. Walked in there. The only interesting thing they had was this one for $1. Didn't have high hopes for it, but it was there. Tommy Rowe Fantasy. This is from 1967 on Spartan label. Very nice condition. Just got a cutout hole punch there and some kind of light wear. This is him trying to go psychedelic. It's right in that 1967 kind of Sgt. Pepper sound. Got some of those touches added to it, but basically just kind of pop rock. But you can tell by the titles: Paisley Dreams, Plastic World, Visions, Mystic Magic. He's trying to go for that kind of psychedelic influence. But not a great LP, but it's not bad. There's a couple okay songs on there. So those were my holiday digs. Wasn't a huge focus of my trip, but we had a good time anyway. I'm going to leave you with Love Is the Answer by Ram, fronted by Wayne McGee. Passed away last year, I believe, after a long period of obscurity. Battles with mental illness. Early Canadian funk, early 70s. Help your brother, man. Peace, Vinyl community.